So you might be wondering also what to expect when you get there to the trade school for punks, alchemists, and architects.
So you've divided the days into two themes. The theme for day one is divest and destroy, and we'll be thinking about how to live our lives less dependent on systems that uphold various forms of oppression, really, and not only how to like live outside of them, but how to cause some tension there, to cause people to make some choices about where they want to be in this new world. And so we'll start the day off framing the day. And this is what we're thinking about. This is how it plays out in our education and our theologies, in our ideas about liturgy, the work of the people. And then we'll have 3 slots for workshops.
Yeah, and so those workshops will be on 4 different broad topics. Alternatives to calling the police is one topic, and how not to be a gentrifier, kind of thinking about how do we make both like better choices and also like both in your choosing your housing, but also kind of how do we help stop displacement at the same time. And what are
direct action training?
Yes.
So that's a little bit more of the like, how do we put some pressure on the system to change? And
plant medicine and first aid. So how do we be less dependent on the healthcare system, or just how do we navigate not being able to be dependent on the healthcare system already? So
that's kind of what we'll do. And throughout the whole day, we'll have a creative space that will be focused on visual images with questions and thoughts guiding around divesting and destroying.
Yeah, and the workshops will either like repeat the same session, or they'll build, kind of do like a 101, 201, 301, or possibly they'll be led by different people and kind of focus on different smaller topics within that larger topic.
We'll keep you posted on who's doing what, and definitely we'll have a big schedule printed the day of, so you can figure out where you want to be, if you need to take a break, all those sorts of things. And then we'll wrap up the day with some food, hallelujah, and the creation of a manifesto.
Yeah, so we want to have a way to both kind of remember our time together and our commitments and like accountability to each other as we move from learning to doing, or continue doing and continue learning as we leave this trade school. And so we'll be thinking about, okay, what are we saying we're divesting from? How are we going to do that? And so that will be something that we'll do over both days. And so day 2 is about investing and inventing. So this is our like constructive day. And we'll open again sort of framing the day as like our big questions and sort of what we're thinking about and hoping for the day. And then we'll move again into 3 workshop slots. And so we'll have 4 different topics for you. And you'll be able to go to 3 workshops. And those topics are
sex ed, new world food. So how are we feeding ourselves in this new world economy system? Movement kids. How are we raising the next generation? How are we being accountable to them? And how are we being inspired by them to do better? And the 4th one
is community housing. So how do we, how we're thinking about where we're living and how we're living, like how do we live with other people? What are ways of living with each other that both help us be more accountable to our commitments and also save money and time and all of those sorts of things. But we'll have some folks come to talk about their experiences and kind of maybe some of the pitfalls and things you need to think about as you're looking into community housing.
One with food and the manifesto creation after that day. And hopefully we can have a conversation about the process in general, what these 2 days have felt like for people, what we could have done better, what we'd like to do in the future, all of those sorts of things. And we'll take it from there, kind of, where the spirit leads.
Yeah. So stay tuned for more information on workshops and facilitators and other things happening at the trade school.